This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in approximately 5 minutes.
0TX repeater.
Hello, it's Scott Manley here. Many of you have fond memories of me playing Kerbal Space Program, where I used the game to, teach bits of rocket science, recreate history, or just build crazy things that would explode. Many of you were inspired to take up aerospace engineering as a career. And, well, Kerbal Space Program, unfortunately, is no longer developed. It stopped development a while back, and it's mostly being maintained by a team of modders who, keep the dream alive. There was a sequel, Kerbal Space Program 2. Unfortunately, that sort of crashed out in its development, spent too much money, and is stuck in early access with most of the features never being developed. So now we have a new team creating a spiritual successor where you will be able to live out your Kerbal dreams in the way that we always imagined and hoped. This is Kitten Space Agency, created by Dean Hall, Rocketworks, and a number of people who were involved in either modding or creating the original Kerbal Space Program. One of the team that's involved is Harvester. Yeah, Philippe, who created the original Kerbal Space Program as a side project, which eventually consumed the company he was working at. So Kitten Space Agency is being designed from the ground up to be this simulation of everything that we want from a spaceship video game. One of the problems with Kerbal Space Program was that it was built on top of a game engine called Unity. It was designed, and Unity is designed for easy game development. It's designed to handle things that people do in everyday life. Things like, first-person shooters. That means the scale of things in it are designed for regular humans. But space is big. Space is mind-bogglingly, unfathomably huge big. Unity would use 32-bit coordinate systems, single precision numbers that had a precision of about 1 part in 10 million. That meant if you put the planet Earth into Unity, it would have a precision of about 1 meter at the surface of the Earth. That's not great, because we want more accuracy than that if we want to wander around on Earth-sized planets. And then if you blew it up to the scale of the solar system, things would get really out of line. So they had to have all these complex coordinate transformations so that different sections of space were scaled in different ways, and they had to transfer things back and forth. So for this, the developers are creating a specific game engine called Brutal. Brutal is using 64-bit coordinates, right? Double precision numbers all the way through the stack. They've got all sorts of features to help them handle the transformations and stuff that are needed to correctly generate large procedural planets and everything. And I'm very glad that they are starting out by creating the underlying technology, because that's what they didn't do with Kerbal Space Program 2. This thing is going to be moddable from the start, and hopefully, even if the developers of this stop being interested, the modders will have an easy time continuing. So right now, you can now go and download this pre-alpha demo from their website, and you can donate. I think that it's great to donate to this project. This stuff doesn't come for free, and it would be great if this would be available to anyone that wants to learn aerospace. So, you start with 4 spacecraft in orbit around the planet Earth. You have potentially a whole solar system to play with, depending upon how much graphics memory and what texture resolutions you want. You can control this right away. It comes up in manual mode here, and by using the W, A, S, and D keys, you can fire the rocket little thrusters, the reaction control thrusters, to turn it in any direction. That's great. If you want to cancel out the rotation, you'll just select null rotation and it'll stop. But of course, once you're in that mode, if you try to actually activate the rotation, it will stop you from doing anything. So now, say we want to change our orbit. Well, we can actually go into our little autopilot section here, and there's a bunch of different buttons. If we want to raise our orbit, we want to point prograde. So, in the orbital velocity section, we'll select prograde, it'll turn around. There's 3 buttons here that are kind of important. They adjust the rate at which you turn. They basically adjust how aggressive the reaction control thrusters are. So strict keeps it within a very, very small, accurate pointing. Balanced sort of reduces it, and relaxed is If you're in deep space, there's nothing nearby, your orientation doesn't matter, that'll give you bigger dead zones and use a lot less propellant.
Hello and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net for December 17th, 2025. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics in general, and thankfully we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Daron. I'm this evening's Net Control. Tonight we'll be taking your check-ins, comments, questions, updates, and more. We meet normally, most months, we meet every Wednesday except the third Wednesday of the month, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time on 145.490 and 448.625. Both with a negative offset. This being the month of December, we're meeting actually most Wednesdays this month. You can contact us at elmer@w0tx.org, on most social media at Denver Radio Club. We also stream and archive our nets, some of our nets, on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. So if you'd like to see behind the scenes, visual context, or you're unable to make our repeaters, that's an additional way to participate in the net. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. The suffix is the first letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use ITU phonetics for your call sign and indicate if you have traffic or questions as you check in. If you'd like, you can also follow along with the check-ins via w0tx.org/check-in. With that, if your suffix begins with letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
K0AGY, Steve in Conifer, Colorado. KF0UUC, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Uniform Charlie. KF0 Uniform Charlie, KF0AGY, Steve.
All right, this is K1 DBC, Net Control. Hold up there for just a minute. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Online, just before the net, we had K0BF checking in. We then just had KD0CGF, Kenny, checking in online. Over the air, we had Steven, KF0AGY, new call sign. Glad to have you in there. I think that's the call sign. Alpha Golf Yankee. And then we had Chad, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Uniform Charlie.
KF0AGY with some traffic.
W0TX repeater.
Yeah, Steven, we'll get back to you here in just a second with traffic. Not a problem. All right, we'll just go ahead and open up the whole alphabet. If you'd like to check in, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Let us know your name, your call sign, and if any of your traffic questions A through Z, please call now.
Kilo Oscar 4, Whiskey Delta Foxtrot, KO4, WDF, Lee, Mobile, and Thornton. November 6, Whiskey Hotel Victor, Dick in Arvada.
Kilo Echo 0, Sierra Uniform Mike, Jonathan, Lakewood.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. KO4 WDF, Lee, N6 WHV, Dick, and KE0 SUM, Jonathan. Thank you all so much for checking in here. All right, one more call at the moment. This is the Denver Radio Club Learning Net, great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics. It lasts usually about an hour. We expect a little bit of quiet, but we during this time of the year. But we appreciate everyone who's checked in here. And then we had Stephen with traffic. We'll get back to you here in just a second. One more call though at the moment. If you'd like to check in, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, please call now. Okay, nothing heard just at the moment. We'll take check-ins throughout the net. If you'd like to check in and there's a lull in the conversation, please don't hesitate to do so. With that, we'll throw it over to Steven. I think it was Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Golf Yankee. Thanks so much for checking in with the traffic. The net is yours.
Yeah, thanks for net control, KF0AGY. I'm up in Conifer, and we've got no power or no internet. I was just wondering what is the conditions down the hill. We're about 8,400 feet here, and because of wind, they pulled the power, and we ran into no internet. So I was just checking the sites to see whether they've got internet and power throughout Colorado, especially in the Denver area. KF0AGY.
All right, sorry for holding up there. AGY, yeah, due to the high winds, Excel intentionally turned off power to parts of the state. I'm in South Denver. I was lucky enough not to have that. They put out a map, I believe, earlier in the day, going up towards Arvada and Conifer area and Boulder area. But if anybody has any information up towards the Conifer area or Golden or up towards that way and have further information on that, go right ahead.
KF0UUC with comment.
Yeah, uniform Charlie. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I don't know if I need to check in to get acknowledged by the net or not. So anyway, still learning. Hey, my better half is up in Conifer, up along Shadow Mountain. Yeah, of course, the internet's out there, but the power is out there. But our internet runs on backup in the house, and it runs over 5G. And although the 5G router still has... Sorry, I got to fix my timeout. It seems like the cell tower may have also lost internet. I have reason to believe that the cell tower itself is also having issues tonight. And, yep, that's all I know from Conifer. I'm down in Highlands Ranch, and we still have power here.
much, guys. I'll bow out. 7-3. Thanks for the extra information. KF0AGY Conifer clear.
All right, sounds good. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, as a lot of people do remember the Marshall Fire back in 2021, and how it spread due to high winds and a lot of different factors. So better safe than sorry. Unfortunately, having to take power down. But yeah, as mentioned there, maybe some cell connections still working, some not. Hopefully some cell towers still have backup generators, potentially dual power. But yeah, gusts of up to 109 miles per hour up in Marshall, Colorado, up in Boulder. And up, 60s, 70s, 80s, all throughout the state. So yeah, appreciate the help there. And yeah, UUC, I did get you checked in. K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else on that or anything? Go right ahead.
Katie's there, a CGF with a comment.
Yeah, Kenny, KD0, CGF, go right ahead.
Now, a couple of comments. First one is you guys make radio too addicting. I had to turn on the radio on the computer. Started a new job lately, so my sleeping schedule's been out of whack. Anyways, up around Conifer, I'm trying to think of what area that would be in. Do you know the closest major area?
This is K1 DBC Net Control. It looks like it's west of the city, south of Evergreen area. If that helps. Roxborough Park area a little bit as well.
Okay, let me do some digging here. Anyways, I'm currently on maps.cotrip.org. And it should show the weather stations in the state along the highways. It'll also show you some of the camera feeds. You can kind of see what's going on or what's happening.
All right, yeah, great resource there. Really do appreciate that. Maps.cotrip.org. Really do appreciate that. You can see some up-to-date information about weather reports and all sorts of information, it looks like here. So yeah, really do appreciate that. Let's see some comments coming in here from the chat. K0BF, Dustin coming in from Stoneham. Windy Plains. He has 48 mile per hour with 68 mile per hour gusts and still have power though. Let's see, CDOT, he mentioned, has removed about 80% of those cameras and weather stations, it sounds like. He mentions as well. So unfortunately, there might be a limited reports on there as it could have been. So anyway, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Really do appreciate everyone on that. Yep. Hunker down. Hopefully things are starting to calm down where you're at, but yeah, do secure things. And if anybody else has any other further comments or questions on that or anything else, go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I guess another good resource would be aprs.fi. You may not think of it, but APRS, people do report weather stations on there. So let's see, we can zoom in. Let's see in that area. let's see, Conifer area. There's some stations reporting in there. Temperature 49 Fahrenheit, 4 mile per hour at the moment. Humidity 41%. So yeah, there's plenty of weather stations around there as well. So that's another good resource as well. Citizen-led weather reporting. So aprs.fi. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, appreciate everyone being here this evening. Normally, this would be the Wednesday we would have our virtual meeting or in-person meeting, and because we had a holiday party over the weekend, which hopefully everyone was able to attend and had a good time there. And in lieu of that, we do not have a meeting this evening. So thanks, everyone, for being able to be here. Yeah, crazy weather recently. But also unseasonably warm. Unfortunately, it's a lot less snow than we're expecting. So, anyone else, though? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? Go right ahead.
Katie0CGF with another comment.
Yeah, Kenny, CGF. Go right ahead.
So I use a very specific weather station up on the tower. Tonight here in Thornton, or today, actually tonight, would be the highest recording here at 1915 hours. We had a wind rating of 48 mile an hour gusts. The weather station I used is called Tempest. If you Google Tempest weather map, or Tempest weather maps, it'll show you some other weather stations that around the state that people have personally bought and utilized, and it just updates as public information. So that could also be a good source to get closer to the area where you're living, or to determine how the weather is doing.
Excellent. Yeah, great resource. TempestWX.com. Intentionally made for people who buy weather stations. So that would probably be another great resource. And yeah, just looking at the map, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of these weather stations. So yeah, another great resource for citizen reported weather. Even if they're not involved in ham radio and have no idea who we are, they know to report weather. And so even without ham radio as being a resource, there's plenty of other people out there to do report weather. That's awesome. Very cool. Very neat stuff. Yeah, comments, questions, check-ins. We had a check-in online. Kevin, KC1YFS, really do appreciate that. Thanks for showing back up here. Anyone else, though? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else you'd like to bring up for this evening's Learning Net so far? Please call now.
This is Chad, and I'm in San Just clarification of the cell towers in Conifer. Just FYI, I know 4G is still working up there, so my comment about towers not working is just, I think it's just one 5G tower, which is kind of new, and it's at the Ace hardware there. I have a reason to believe that one's having issues. That's helpful to anybody in the Conifer area.
All right, Chad, not a problem. Your signal was a bit scratchy that time, but yeah, cell sites certainly can go down one or two here or there. So that's certainly not uncommon. So, I'd be remiss not to also mention the NOAA weather frequencies as well. If you have a handheld radio, just tune into one of the weather stations. Awesome stuff. Anything else? Anyone else? Go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC. Yep, inclement weather. Just make sure things are hunkered down when it comes to antennas and things like that. Obviously, during thunderstorms, you may as well just unplug just to be safe from power and antenna. But hopefully, during weather, as long as things are secured to your property, should be all right. Anyone else though on the weather? Recent ham radio news, comments, questions, anything else? Please call now.
KD0 CGF with a question.
Yeah, CGF with the question. Go right ahead.
So, I don't want to get into the political stuff too much, but I got home today and heard about our president talking about NCAR and NOAA, and I was more intrigued about the NOAA stuff. I guess they're going to start, they're talking about potentially dismantling the program. Or something going on. And so what the question was brought up at the table was, are they going to take down the NOAA weather towers, or are they going to turn them off? I haven't done any research to see if that's accurate or not. I hope they don't, considering that's a big part of providing safety to the public. But it did present an interesting question on that, though. KD0 CGF, back to net.
All right, yeah, walking on eggshells here. Not a problem. This is K1 DBC Net Control, the National Center for Atmospheric Research. I don't know exactly what specifically the outcome would be. I would imagine if it affected public safety, it wouldn't look good for anybody. So I can't imagine anything like that, hopefully, anything that would affect weather reporting. I'm not too sure. But, I'd have to do a little bit more research myself. I did see that earlier in the day, and I didn't take the time to look into it further, though. But anybody else on that? Looking to potentially shutter NCAR, but to what extent, I am not too sure. Anyone else, though, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. A little bit of a sticky subject to talk about. Unfortunately, it is something that potentially could affect us, but potentially could affect weather reporting. But closure of over on Axios planned the closure of NCAR's Mesa laboratory, which employs 830 people. Let's see, Director of Office Management and Budget said the National Science Foundation would be breaking up NCAR. Vought said a review would move any vital services to another entity or location. This facility is one of the largest sources of climate alarmism in the country. So you'll just have to, I guess, we'll just have to do a little bit more research and maybe wait a little bit more time to really see what the outcome really of this is, though. But anyone else on that NCAR closure or anything else, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, without maybe getting myself into too much trouble, I'll probably won't say too much more on that. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. 7:55 Mountain Time. Comments, questions, further check-ins, anything else on what we talked about or anything else? Go right ahead.
KF0UUC with a comment.
Yeah, Chad, UUC, you're sounding much better this time as well with a comment. Go right ahead.
Yeah, question, comment about the Green Mountain repeater that's listed on this club's website, and it has a link to listen online on, I think it's called Broadcastify. I'm wondering if anybody uses that. I tried it last week, and I think recently, and I think that's not working. It's just silent. I'm wondering if anybody else has tried that or if it's working for them. Yeah, that's my question.
Questions. What was the repeater you mentioned and what frequency?
It's Green Mountain. It's a 2-meter, and let me check on the frequency. I don't have it at hand, but I can grab it here. It's listed on the website.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. I can go ahead and answer that. 147.33 receive our Green Mountain repeater. Broadcastify. Yep, it was set up by our VE, our current VE team lead, Robert Pickett, I think, quite some time ago. I'm not too sure that people use it. You're the first person that has mentioned that in quite some time. So I'll try to ping him, but it has been probably 6 months plus that I think that it has not been working. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, and we'll see what we could do. Maybe we'll just take the link down for now, so just to not set any expectations of that working. So I appreciate that. So yeah, Broadcastify, and he used a software-defined radio, and I can get into that a little bit, but if you or anyone else has further comments or questions on that, go ahead.
No, that helps. Thank you. That makes sense. I was trying to use it to test my signal quality, as always programming a radio, but no, that's fine. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, we need to maybe delve into that a little bit more and maybe get those working again. But yeah, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else on that? Comments, questions, check-ins? I can read off how that is done and how you can do that if you would like, if anybody's interested in doing that. Comments, questions, check-ins, or anything else, go right ahead. All right, this is K1 at DBC Net Control. Yeah, if you've not seen broadcast or visited broadcastify.com, you can listen to people's repeaters that they feed using an internet connection, oftentimes with a traditional scanner, and sometimes with a combination of a Raspberry Pi and a USB software-defined radio connected up to the internet, and as well as an antenna. So there is Linux Raspberry Pi images that you can put onto a SD card, burn it, and basically you can listen into repeaters and then broadcast that over to Broadcastify, and it gets you a free premium account. There is an incentive to do so. So if anybody's ever interested, it's a fun project to do. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Just do a Google search for Broadcastify Raspberry Pi feed image. Another similar project, if you're interested in aviation reporting, you can receive ADS-B signals in a very similar manner with a Raspberry Pi and just different pieces of software, and then it reports to ADS-B Exchange. It used to be able to just do it for free, I think, or I think you can still do it for free, but you can also feed ADS-B flight tracking to different flight tracking websites. All right, it is 8:01 p.m. Mountain Time. I'll take official check-ins if you're just tuning in. This is the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics. And luckily, we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. So if you'd like to check in, we're taking all comments, questions, check-ins. So A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, let us know your call sign, your name. And if you have any traffic questions, please call now. Another call. If anybody wants to check in, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please call now.
0TX repeater.
Okay, does anybody have further comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? We're taking all comments, questions, check-ins. If anybody has further comments, I can certainly read off from the January edition of the ARL QST magazine. A little bit from there, but if anybody has further comments, questions, check-ins, anything else, please call now. All right, and before the net, I was playing a video, YouTube video by YouTuber Scott Manley. He's a aeronautical engineer, so he has a video on the successor to a video game called Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal Space Program helped a whole generation of smart kids become rocket scientists, sometimes for real. However, the development of the game has since stopped, and the sequel was never completed. And so an independent group of developers have decided to create a spiritual successor in the form of Kitten Space Agency. One of the most important problems they tackled was the game engine. Kerbal Space Program was built on a game engine which couldn't truly model the scales needed for spaceflight with the precision required. Their developers created a new engine called Brutal, a game engine that can do this and also support the development team and third-party modders. So I was playing a few minutes of that before the net. I'll maybe play a few minutes after the net, but check that out. Could this be the true successor to Kerbal Space Program? You take care. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Further comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? Appreciate the new check-ins, new names. Really do appreciate that. So if anybody has further comments, questions, check-ins, or anything else for this evening's Learning Net, please call now. Okay, reading from the QST 2nd Century. This is written by Dave Minster, NA2AA, the ARL Chief Executive Officer. Year of the Club. As we welcome in a new year, ARL is introducing a year-long effort to shine the spotlight on radio clubs. Clubs are the critical backbone of our community, of our hobby. Clubs routinely serve as the entry point for newcomers to amateur radio. I could fill pages with wonderful memories he has from Ramapo High School Amateur Radio Club and Fairlawn Amateur Radio Club to field days with the Ramapo Mountain Amateur Radio Club to participation with the Frankfurt Radio Club. Activities, friends, learning accomplishments, and great times. He goes on to say that during 2026, we want to be inspired by all the things that your club is already good at, and take the time to thank and recognize your volunteer leaders for sustaining a wonderful club experience. There are new activities that your club can take on, including the possibility of merging with another local club to ensure that one combined is stronger than the two apart. You'll see us, ARL that is, promoting content in different forms related to the Marconi program, motivating amateur radio clubs to open new initiatives, created by the Meridian Amateur Radio Club of Wallingford, Connecticut. Let's see, a little bit more here. They also look to expand on their hugely successful affiliate clubs program. Again, they routinely, I can never say that word, see clubs at the 75 and 100-year marks of the affiliation being recognized by the ARL board. And sometimes we've been excited to welcome those clubs to the ARL HQ and have pictures taken with them on the steps of W1AW. Affiliation to him shows that the club members are committed to the success of ARL's efforts to promote and protect amateur radio and to develop the next generation of radioactive members. Yeah, there's a few more paragraphs, but I'll leave that to you. Check that out in your own time if you do have access to the ARL editions. With that, I'll throw it out to the group. It's 8:08 Mountain Time. We have plenty of time here still, 20 or so minutes. Anyone else? Further comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now. All right. Anyone else? Further comments, questions, check-ins? I'll see if I can bring up anything else, but it's been pretty quiet here recently. But anyone else, though? Comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now.
KF0UUC, Chad and Highlands Ranch. I have a quick comment.
Yeah, UUC with a comment. Go right ahead.
Last week we talked a bit about crossband repeating. Sorry about the dogs, they're not my dogs. And I was curious about if a crossband repeater had to announce itself with a call sign or the operator's call sign. And I haven't looked into it much more than that, but I did run across some information on a different club's website, Colorado Connection, and they actually prohibit cross-band repeating into their repeaters without approval, and the approval is based on if your radio is able to do that to ID itself. So that's just a comment, something I'm looking into, something I find interesting, and I'm just following up on last week. So, just wondering if anybody else had any information on doing that and the rules around crossband repeating.
All right, great question, great resource there, colcon.org/using-crossband-repeaters. Yeah, they have a pretty good blurb here, and then at the very bottom section it says crossband repeating is possible if done the following way. Bullet points to the one that you were talking about. Ensure the crossband repeater itself is FCC legal. Your crossband unit must provide call station ID, either automatic or manual, and have the ability to shut the radio down remotely if something goes wrong. And a few others. Yeah, I was not aware of that. I was kind of thinking about that too. It didn't seem like they would even really know that you are doing that. To them or anyone listening, it sounds like you're just transmitting on the same frequencies as everyone else is. But yeah, I was not aware of that. So crossband repeater on the Colorado connection, at least, you need to have a repeater that is able to provide a call station ID either automatically or manually, very much similarly to all the other repeaters, I guess, we use.
0TX repeater.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, I just found that interesting, just sharing my experience and learning new parts of the hobby. So thank you for that. Back to Ned.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, I'll have to do a little bit more digging on that. Because it sounds like you should just be able to use your own call sign as you would normally. Yeah, a little bit more on their site. Crossband repeating in this context is the use of an unattended personal radio to act as a relay between a ham radio operator and the Colorado connection. It's a feature on many dual band radios. Ham would talk on their radio via UHF, and their signal would then get relayed into the Colorado connection on VHF. Similarly, a signal from the Colorado connection on VHF would get relayed by the personal radio over UHF to the ham radio operator. While the theory of crossband repeating is good, it is easy for something to go awry, and in doing so, affect the entire repeater system. And yeah, let's not forget Colorado connection is somewhat a little bit different because they have interlinked 20 or so repeaters. So that is, I guess, for them, it makes a lot more sense that they have no interruptions, or as few as possible. Anyone else, though, on that, go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, another great resource, Colorado Connection. They have interlinked, a bunch of repeaters. So if you're ever interested in working different parts of the state using radio only, that is an option. All right, well, thanks again for the follow-up on that, Chad. KF0UUC, thanks for doing a little bit of digging in. And if you ever do any or have any other further questions or have any other updates on that, let us know. With that, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I guess some up-to-the-date news here over on Colorado Connection. As widely reported, Excel is cutting power due to high winds. This is affecting their repeater sites. Thornton in particular, Denver users should use the experimental repeaters. If power is off for an extended period of time and batteries deplete, then the server will go down and all repeaters will be in standalone mode. Just some up-to-date news about weather and radio repeaters. Anyone else, though, on that or anything else? Go right ahead. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Further comments, questions, check-ins? We might have a little bit of a shorter net these next couple of weeks. Again, Christmas Eve, 24th, and New Year's Eve, 31st. Still plan on having a net, but it'll probably be a little bit shorter, a little bit looser. We'll still be able to have a net those evenings. So yeah, do check it out if you like. But anyone else, though? Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? Please call now.
WD0 CIV, WD0 CIV, Charles in Denver, just checking in. No traffic. Back to net.
I got you checked in. Charles WD0 CIV, really do appreciate you checking in. All right, anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net? I'll see if I can bring up anything else here, but anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now.
This is KV0M. I'm just checking in.
All right, KV0M, I got you checked in here. I'm just trying to get your first name here from our check-in tool. But yeah, great to hear you in there. Looks like a new check-in here. So can't thank you enough for checking in.
Yes, thank you. I'm checking in with a new to us used HT radio, and actually just trying to get our antenna checked out. My son just got his new call sign today. So do you mind if he checks in just a moment here?
Awesome. Yeah, you're sounding great. Yeah, thanks for doing that. Not a problem. Yeah, that would be great. Please feel free to do that. Go right ahead.
Okay, this is KV0M, and I'm handing it over to Asher here.
This is KF0VWF, just checking in.
All right, so sorry about that, Asher. Can you try once more? I thought I had KF0BWF, but I think I may have that wrong. Can you try once more? Sorry about that.
KF0VWF. Victor Whiskey Foxtrot.
All right, I do apologize in the delay on that. I'm having a difficulty. I got the VWF, Victor Whiskey Fox. It was the first three. Was that Kilo Foxtrot 0?
0 TX repeater.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, for some reason it's not coming up on my side, but I think that was Kilo Foxtrot 0, Victor Whiskey Fox. Asher, I got you checked in, and I do apologize if I have the call sign wrong. Please let me know if KF0VWF is incorrect.
It is correct, and I just got it this morning. Back to net.
Excellent. Well, sorry about that. Thank you so much for checking in, KF0VWF. Asher, and congratulations. And yeah, that might be why it's not coming up here immediately. It may take a day or two. But I did look it up on another tool. And Asher, yep, I got you checked in. And yeah, congratulations on the test and a new technician, looks like. So yeah, congratulations. And hope you have fun with this hobby. And yeah, please don't hesitate to check in here further. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. KV0M. I can't get your first name here, maybe D. But thank you so much for that. If you have anything else or anyone else on that, go right ahead.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any traffic. Thank you for letting us check in. It's been a while here. I'm definitely having to brush the dust off of the equipment, but I think the antenna seems to be working well. And anyway, the name here is Zach, is what I go by, and I'll pass it back to you, Net Control. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Excellent. It's our pleasure to help pass along the torch of this hobby. That is awesome to see. So yeah, KV0M, Zach, and Asher, KF0VWF. Yeah, congrats. And hopefully you'll have a lot more memories on the equipment. And yeah, things are sounding great there. So yeah, that's awesome to see. So yeah, if anybody else wants to check in or anyone else, comments, questions, anything else, go right ahead. Excellent. This is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, that's excellent to see, and yeah, glad to be able to have newcomers in. So, yeah, it's awesome to see people encourage their family members to get into the hobby. So, yeah, if anybody else comments, questions, check-ins, anything else, please call now. Yep, and congrats on the testing. I know a lot of adults that can't pass the tests, although they make it very easy nowadays to do some studying. So, hamstudy.org. I'm not too sure what Asher used, or if you guys have any further follow up on that. But yeah, it's great to see. Anyone else on ham license testing or anything else on that? Go right ahead. Let's see, this is K1DBC Net Control. Just another 5 or so minutes here. Let me see a recent post over on reddit.com/r/amateur radio was on calling frequencies. Let me see if I can bring that back up here. It was an appeal from a a call signed by KF7AZV mentioning they had driven 2,600 miles and spent a week in Los Angeles with the radios on, scanning and checking the usual calling frequencies pretty regularly, and made a point of actually calling both mobile and stationary at reasonable hours. But it basically heard nothing. So the calling frequencies, the National Simplex 146.52, 446.0, and even calls on local repeaters en route. So everyone's on the repeaters. Let's see. It's calling frequencies used to be how you found nearby hams while traveling, how new operators made their first random contacts, and how you exercised simplex so it would actually work when needed. If simplex is supposed to matter for emergencies or infrastructure failures, it can't be something we only dust off. So just an appeal for more users to listen in and maybe respond if anybody has experiences, or if you do monitor 146.52. We've certainly talked about that national simplex calling frequency in the past, but anyone else on that, go right ahead. All right. So yeah, the primary national simplex frequency in North America for amateur radio is 146.52, used for direct radio-to-radio, also known as simplex communication without repeaters. So yeah, it's just a great way to, especially now with the weather coming in, it helps to be able to do that. So yeah, if you're out there traveling or you have a radio on, maybe have one of the stations programmed in as the national simplex frequency. Anyone else on that or anything else? We have just a few more minutes. Please call now. All right, nothing heard just at the moment. Again, just a couple more minutes left in the net. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? Anything else? Please call now.
KF0 UUC with a comment.
Yeah, Chad, UUC with the comment. The net is yours.
Chad in Highlands Ranch, quick update. Yeah, I got info from Conifer. 5G internet is working again. Power is still out up there. And then one other quick comment. Congratulations, Asher. That's awesome.
Excellent. Thank you so much for the update on the 5G service there up in Conifer. That's been restored. That's good to hear. And yeah, it's awesome to see, especially youth in the hobby. So, but yeah, everyone and anyone welcome and new into the hobby is always awesome to see. So yeah, anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? Just another minute or so. Please call now. Okay, we'll probably then start to wrap the net up here. It's probably just about to tick over to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. With that, we'll take final check-ins, final comments, questions, any final things for the net. Please call now.
0TX repeater.
Okay, nothing heard then. We'll wrap the net then up. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, pleasure as always. If anybody's interested in running net control operations, please don't hesitate to get a hold of us. Net at w0tx.org and most social media if you'd like as well. Next week, again, the 24th, although Christmas Eve, we will try to have a net at 7:30 p.m. Tonight we had a total of 12 check-ins. Great to see everyone. New names, new call signs. Hopefully everyone is staying safe, doing well. And with that, we can't thank enough, again, for everyone who did check in, who had traffic, or who has passed along any further information. Can't thank enough everyone who's just checked in general. Thank the club for allowing us to use their repeaters. Again, every month except for this month, third Wednesday of the month, 6 p.m. is an Elmers session, very similar to what is this evening's Learning It, and then 7 p.m. for a monthly meeting. With that, let's see, w0tx.org for more information. Please join us next week, 7:30 p.m. This is K1 DBC Net Control, and I will be clear.
So now we're pointed forwards along the orbit. So, how do we fire the engine? Well, we can light up the engine using the Z key, and the X key will shut it down. So, we'll see down at the engine here, it has a thrust-to-weight ratio of 13.4. This thing will accelerate at 13 Gs. It also has a delta V of 1,361 kilometers per second. This is very much like the Expanse fusion drive, right? This is Epstein drive technology. And right away, yeah, you can see our apoapse is rising ridiculously quickly. There's a 3,000 kilometer apoapse. If I zoom out on the map again, you can see that I've already raised the orbit up quite significantly with that very short burn. You can adjust the thrust using the cursor keys, the up and down arrows to change that. If you're and the autopilot will perform a lot of maneuvers for you. Now, there is the moon out there. We can go to the moon, so we'll go into the transfer planner, select a Hoffman orbit transfer. We're going to be transferring with rocket, going to Luna, and we are going to calculate. And so it will create, it's choosing our little orbit here, it's choosing the least amount of velocity to get there, right? So let's create that, and let's set that target as the moon. Now, it's not quite going to be great, because if we zoom out, it's going to choose the least amount of velocity to get to a lunar encounter, but that means it just gets inside the lunar sphere of influence. If you really want to get to the moon, you want to get this as close as possible. So we can actually manually edit this node by clicking on it, right? Here we go. And so, if we're going to go a little higher, I can just increase the prograde velocity by a bit. There we go. It's going to get us closer. So we're going to use that burn. Now, if I want to do this, I can manually select positive on here. It will point me along the orbit. And then I can follow the countdown. It says 240 seconds or whatever to when we're going to burn. Or I can just click auto and it will do it for me. Moreover, if I hit warp, it will time warp to me. So there is time warp in this. The time warp is controlled by the comma and the period or full stop key. Just live with it if you can't understand it, right? It's just magic numbers. These are kittens. There's a delta V of 2,512 meters per second. Yes, this is all metric because spaceflight is done in metric. Just live with it if you can't understand it, right? It's just magic numbers. These are kittens. Don't worry about the numbers. There we go. Wow, that is bright. That is like a fusion drive. And look at the sun setting there in the background. Just perfect. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And this thing is going to cut off with great precision. Bang! 1 meter per second, which is not bad given that it was accelerating at 134 meters per second, roughly. So that now puts us inside the sphere